Hey folks, in this episode we take a guided boat tour with a National Park Ranger to Baker Island, one of the Cranberry Isles off the coast of Maine. Come sail along.
Make sure you click subscribe so you don't miss our next adventure.
All right, it is a cool and rainy morning here in Bar Harbor. We are about 20 minutes from getting on the boat to go to Baker Island. Some of the tours have been canceled today, so hopefully we're not going to have too much of a rainy day out there on the ocean. One of our favorite experiences ever was a trip down the Snake River in Wyoming. We knew when planning this trip to New England we wanted to do a boat tour. We chose Baker Island over whale watching, and it was good we did. They canceled the whale watching trips on this day because the seas were too rough.
Lobster fishing.
Hilarious, the Miss Samantha. The ranger guide told us later he and the captains had to convince the boat company to go ahead with the Baker Island tour. Their reasoning was that Baker Island really isn't in the open ocean. When we got there, the bad conditions became evident. There's a small skiff tied behind the boat. More on that later. We weren't sure how the squad's stomachs would hold up on the water, but we did just fine. Unlike some of our crewmates, there were a few green faces on deck.
You start looking at all the buoys, you're going to see there's actually two on the rope. There's the initial official colored buoy, and then there's a second buoy that's called a toggle.
We got a little demonstration on lobster fishing.
So here's a good old Maine lobster right here. Now, when they grab them out of the trap, they're going to grab them something about like this. Why? Because they don't come with rubber bands on their claws. Okay? And then when you look at their claws, they have two claws. They have a crusher claw and a shredder claw. Kind of like you have crusher teeth and shredder teeth, same idea. So you want to keep track of these.
A few words about the ranger. Fantastic, knowledgeable, friendly, funny. He's a retired teacher and actually had the two captains as students. We could totally see ourselves doing this someday. The ranger was a descendant of the Gilleys, the family that settled on Baker Island. That connection made this tour that much more special. John and Hannah Gilley moved to Baker Island with their 3 children about 1806. Eventually they had 12 children. The family grew crops and raised livestock. John was also a fisherman. The family sold various products in Boston and nearby Southwest Harbor. Their descendants lived on the island for over 120 years.
Well, that's really something.
The water around Baker Island is very shallow. So shallow the Miss Samantha can't pull up close.
All right, guys, as we approach, please keep the center lane clear so I can run up and deploy that ladder. Everybody remain seated until I tell you it's okay to disembark the skiff, because I got to get it anchored in there and everything. Next group, it would be nice if you try to put them on the seats just so they don't get wet.
What are you doing?
What about this?
Yeah, look, there's a carrot buoy. Oh my gosh, I want the carrot buoy.
Riding the skiff to the island was unexpected. Miss Samantha was a long way off. The anchors for the skiff got stuck in the water, and the pilot had to get into the water, 55-degree water, to free the poles. The ranger helped him with this, and it's good he did. There was a real chance that the Miss Samantha would have had to return to Bar Harbor to get a replacement skiff. We would have been stuck on the island until they returned. Close call.
What's with the hat?
So the ranger asked Pierce to hold it, asked him to keep it dry.
It's not dry.
Usually our guys are right up front with the tour guide, so it's not surprising he got handed the hat. All right, we are on Baker Island. It is off the coast of Maine, and we are here sort of before the tour started. It's popularly believed that this house was built around 1840 by Elisha Gilley, son of Hannah and William. Elisha followed in his parents' traditional lifestyle of seafaring and farming. The red houses are privately owned. I would guess that they might be vacation rentals. Try as I might, I couldn't find these cabins on Vrbo or Airbnb. It would be interesting to wake up to this every morning. This was your view. The National Park Service has a great video of our ranger at the link in the description. Here's the family cemetery. Generations of Gilleys lived here on the island, and while some of them left to serve in the armed forces or to go to school, many of them returned. With the advent of motorboats, however, the family didn't need to live so close to the fishing grounds, and they started to leave. This is the marker for Main Street. I'd love to know how the Park Service got a tractor over here to mow this grass.
You think that comes later? It's British. It's British. My guess is right.
Baker Island is basically a granite slab and a bunch of pine trees, not great for agriculture. To think that there was a little village of relatives here with livestock and crops is mind-blowing. It seemed so remote, but to the hardy Mainers that lived there, it obviously wasn't. The Baker Island Light was established by President John Quincy Adams, and William Gilley was the first keeper. The current tower was built in 1855 and automated in 1966. The lighthouse used to be fueled by oil, and the oil house display is a pet project of our friendly ranger and some other family members. Good heavens, how many lighthouses have we seen? We've seen Baker Island, Head Harbor, McAnallen, is that the one we saw? McNulty, somewhere in Roosevelt. We saw the West Quaddy. So many lighthouses. Ooh, this is tricky. Right now we are taking the trail to what they call the dance floor. It's lonely out here. Maine is, after all, the least densely populated state east of the Mississippi. It also has the most forest cover of any U.S. state. These forests here on Baker Island fit in well with Maine's nickname, the Pine Tree State. The ranger told us that on one of his other tours, folks got to this spot, thought it was the dance floor, and then returned to the light. This is the dance floor, huge slabs of granite. So many of these slabs are flat and level enough that area islanders used to have dances here on summer evenings, right on the edge of the sea. All right, the North Atlantic.
The sea was angry, my friend.
Like an old man trying to return soup at a deli.
Try to catch some of the seaweed coming in. Like inside the wave, you'll be able to see it.
It's hard to imagine this island filled with the activities of daily life. As we saw it, the island was so remote and lonely, and cold, and gray.
Be right where I put my bag. Think they're tramping on my things? Wait.
It's hard to imagine, but the Gilley family lived here, and this was almost like a main street that we're walking down here. There were a number of houses on either side of this, and these people, this one family and their relatives, all lived here on Baker Island until about the 1930s. Now, when the tide is low here in this area off coast of Maine, there is a sandbar that basically runs between Baker Island here and Little Cranberry Island. And the ranger told us today that the midwife lived on Little Cranberry Island. So if you needed to go over there, there's a town over there. If you needed to go over there for things, you had to wait till low tide and you could walk across the sandbar. And it is almost apparent now. You can see almost the whole thing. Time to board the skiff and head back to the Miss Samantha for the hour-long return trip to Bar Harbor. On the way back, we'd pass by the Thrum Cap, Egg Harbor Rock, and get a better view of the High Seas building. High Seas, a 20th century estate, now belongs to the Jackson Laboratory and is used for student housing. There is a breakwater around Bar Harbor. You can see the sandbar between Bar Harbor and Bald Porcupine Island.
I can't get that on.
Well, I'd say Acadia is popular. Jeez. After the boat trip, we climbed many steps to the Acadia National Park Visitor Center. We were here to check out the gift shop and get the boys' junior ranger badges.
Woo!
Thanks for watching. In our next video, we go to Sand Beach and see the Thunder Hole, hike to Jordan Pond, and see another amazing lighthouse. Please remember to subscribe to our channel, like and share this video, and comment below.